Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is John Phillips, co-founder of PredictIt, the stock market of politics. We're going to talk about Donald Trump, House Senate 2022, and also the Ohio election. John, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
It's great to be here, and you might be able to tell I'm in a movie theater in the swanky downtown Soho House of New York City. So this is the private movie theater, and I got it all to ourselves today.
It is pretty cool, because when you first signed on, I'm like, this is pretty swanky. Is this like a Vegas style conference room? So that is an awesome place to work. That's for sure.
This is the future of movies. If we don't lick this virus, you just go to the movie theater. It's just you. So.
Well, that's not a bad experience either. All right, so John, it's been a while since we talked about Donald Trump exclusively. What are we taking a look at this week?
Okay, so predicted traders have opinions on just about everything to do with politics, and that's no exception when it comes to the chances that Donald Trump is going to be running for president again in 2024. He mentioned that possibility, or teased it out at a rally he did over the weekend, and predicted traders think that by 2020, the first question is, will he declare? Meaning, will he file the paperwork with the Federal Elections Commission? Never mind whether he's going to talk about it, but is he actually going to file the paperwork with the Federal Elections Commission to run for president in 2024? And predicted traders think that he will, by 40% odds, by the end of 2022, meaning at the end of next year, by the end of next year, before then, Trump is going to file the papers. 40% odds from predicted traders that he will. That's down a penny from where it was earlier this morning. So 40 cents to buy those odds. Pays $1 if he does.
So two questions. This before, because with Trump, it's not slightly against him, it's just the way he does politics. What's this going to mean for DeSantis? Because he could just flip a switch at any moment, and that could really impact the DeSantis campaign, even though they appear to be in the same boat now. And then, John, it's not even just Donald Trump, but it's almost like if they would spend more time governing than they did grandstanding and campaigning and fundraising, we could be in a very different position than we are right now. And again, it's not just Donald Trump. It seems like that's politics in general.
Yeah, you could say that about just about anybody who has his eye on the presidency or her eye on the presidency, Democrat or Republican, is that, as soon as the election's over, you start thinking about the re-election effort. Or if you're thrown out of office, you try to figure out how to get back in. What's interesting about, as you mentioned, with DeSantis, the governor of Florida, they were tied earlier this morning at 27 cents or 27% odds each to be the Republican nominee in 2024. DeSantis has pulled ahead by 2 points, which is really statistically not that significant. So it's 29 for DeSantis, 27 for Trump. What's interesting is further back in the pack, because really, this is so far ahead of the actual nominating convention and even the primaries, but stuff's getting started. So you got DeSantis at 29, Trump at 27 to be the Republican nominee. And then right behind is Nikki Haley, far back at 8 cents, followed by Ted Cruz, Mike Pence, Kristi Noem, Mike Pompeo, and Josh Hawley, all in single digits.
Even more important is the Senate House 2022. I mean, that's really where the work gets done.
Right. And that's like tomorrow practically in politics. So what you have with the control, predicted traders are speaking, sort of have two views on this. And the real interesting thing is, what are the chances that the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate? That was running about 40 cents this afternoon, 40% odds that the Republicans take the House and Senate. The Republicans will take the House, the Democrats, the Senate will retain the Senate. That's 31% odds. And that the Democrats will retain the House and the Senate, that's only 23% odds. So, it's an interesting dichotomy, because the traders also, are weighing in on what's going to happen with the overall election, and 2022 is really going to foreshadow what happens in 2024. If, as happened with Obama, if the Democrats lose control of the House and the Senate, it's going to be very, very difficult for President Biden to get any of his agenda through at that point.
And what's happening in Ohio?
Well, Ohio is a country in itself, and of course, that's the most interesting thing, because so you've got two things going on there at the very least that we predicted traders have their eyes on. The first is this embattled Congressman Gonzalez, who parted with Trump on the vote on the January 6th fracas at the Capitol. And Trump has not forgiven him, nor has he forgiven the other 10 Republicans who did so. And at this point, Trump came out and endorsed Gonzalez's opponent for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Congress. This is a year and a half ahead of the election. Gonzalez was down about 6 to 16% odds that he would be renominated, according to predicted traders. They gave it only 16% odds that Gonzalez would overcome this headwind from Trump. But after the weekend, it was bounced back up to 28 cents or 28%. So that 16% was a 90-day low. Then it bounced off the 90-day low to increase, but it's still only 1 in 4 odds that Gonzalez can be the Republican nominee. This is an incumbent Republican congressman, mind you. Now, also in the Ohio Senate, which is real interesting. Again, we're a year and a half off. It's to replace Rob Portman, and Mandel is at 38% odds. Timken is at 29, and Vance is at 27. The others in the pack to succeed Rob Portman as a Republican nominee for United States Senate in Ohio are all in single digits. So, that's going to be Ohio, as always, is going to be a bloodbath, and not just between the Republicans and the Democrats, but within the party itself.
See, and John, and I think that's kind of the crossroads that we're at right now in American politics. I feel like we're not even working through the issues. Voters have to critically look at how they're positioned. It just can't be whether it's Donald Trump or another celebrity endorsing a candidate or not. I just, it's just so concerning that we're not focusing on the issues and the legislation that is up for lawmakers to, move on one issue or the other. It's, I realize celebrities and social influencers and so forth are really key when it comes to product and consumer goods and so forth. But I feel like we've got to do better as voters and look at the issues. Right.
Well, yeah. We have this sort of animal brain. We spend part of the time paying attention to serious matters like the pandemic, the scientific breakthroughs this weekend, for instance, having to do with CRISPR technologies. How exciting is that? And at the same time, we spend a lot of time thinking about Britney Spears. So, how we apportion our attention is very much part of it. My feeling is, having seen quite a few elections, both from the inside and the outside, voters generally will make the right decision at the end. They never signed a contract to spend 100% of their free time focused on what politicians are doing in Washington. And in fact, the detachment from what politicians are doing, I think, Jill, might even be a bit healthy, because when it comes down to the election, however, having been on the losing side of elections myself, I can tell you, even in those elections, the voters made the right choice. So I think that there's things are better than it seems, but it's always fun to bet on PredictIt. So there you have it.
There you go. All right, John, good to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.